Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Covering both sides of the big issues with the analysis you trust on News Radio 1040 WHO.
Can people spread mental health problems from one company to another, like an infectious disease? Now, recent research suggests it's possible. New hires diagnosed with anxiety, depression, or high levels of stress are likely to transmit these feelings to their new coworkers, according to a study that was published online by Administrative Science Quarterly. Now, I found that very interesting, and a lot of you listen to me at work, and it's why we deal with office-related issues on Need to Know. And I also wanted to bring on mental health expert Maya Kazazic to talk about this and see if it's indeed, Maya believes it's possible. Maya, welcome to Iowa Radio. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
When you hear this study, is it possible that mental health issues can spread like a virus from one employee to another?
Well, so mental health issue is not a virus, and it cannot physically spread like that. However, some of the traits and some behaviors are obviously can spread. That's not much different than the old saying that we have all heard. It says you are who you're with. So basically, it means if you hang around toxic people, you might pick up some of the toxic traits yourself.
And I consider myself really a happy, optimistic person. So if I'm sitting in office next to a person that is suffering from anxiety and depression, is my own sense of happiness and joy, will that counter that? Or could my mental health actually be affected by the coworker that's next to me?
That's a very good point. We also have to remember that just like somebody can bring in toxic traits into our space, it works the other way around. You might actually make that person happier. But if that's not the case, if they're trying to enter your orb, your safe space, then what's important is whether we have healthy boundaries set. If your boundaries are healthy and properly, then no, they're not going to affect you. You will be empathetic, you will understand their situation, be supportive, but you will not allow it to enter your safe space. So it all really depends on the boundaries.
Yeah, Maya, could you expound on that a little bit? I'm very interested in that concept. My own boundaries, what I've set. What should I be setting? How do I protect myself?
Well, so we all have issues with boundaries in this country and probably the world. We all have trouble saying no. So when the healthy boundaries setting comes from first understanding yourself, understanding what you want your life to be like, what you want your workday to be like, understanding what is it that your needs are, and how far you're allowing anyone to push you into a negative state that is going to throw you off track. Once you understand yourself and understand what your needs are, then you can say and learn the power of word no. So once somebody encroaches in those boundaries, then you're able to say, okay, please do not, no, this is no longer working for me, and you can act accordingly.
And Maya, just a general question for you. If you think about the pandemic and its impact on the mental health of workers, and then you've got new workers being hired all the time and joining an office, and maybe they're struggling with their mental health. Mental health in our offices in general is becoming a bigger issue all the time, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And I believe that the pandemic is not over yet. And unfortunately, once the pandemic is over, we're going to see this collective rise in mental health issues, starting with the first responder and medical personnel, because PTSD will kick in after the pandemic is over, after everyone feels safe, when everything is kind of over and we can kind of put it behind us. That's when the PTSD is going to come in, and I believe we're going to see a huge increase in mental health issues.
She is a mental health expert. That is Maya Kazazic, and I really appreciate her perspective on this important issue today. Maya, thanks very much for joining me.